Hello, gorgeous Love Goddess. Welcome back to Love Goddess Podcast with your host, Katya Melvin. And this week we are talking about dark feminine energy, what it is, how it works, and what you require to have in order to possess dark feminine energy. I say everyone has dark feminine energy within themselves. Some are able to tap into it, and for some, it lays dormant. Yesterday, I have shared one of the most important elements of dark feminine energy, which is seduction and mystery. And today, I want to share another important element to dark feminine energy, which is high boundaries, high self-respect, high self-esteem, high value. And I am combining all of these terms because they're very similar. Very similar. Everything is energy. You are energy. I'm an energy worker. I'm an energy worker on myself. I am an energy worker for you. I am an energy shifter. In order to get different results, you have to shift your own energy in every single area of your life: relationship, finances, manifesting, travel, lifestyle, how you position yourself, how people respond to you. You have to shift your energy in order to shift other outside manifesting elements of that. Our life is just a matrix. It's a reflection of what we have produced on the inside with our energy. If your life sucks, that means you've produced sucky life inside of your own energy field, right? And it just like shifted and reflected to you on the outside. If your life is amazing, that's who you are. That's what you've produced, right? And so it is so important to keep your vibes high and be happy no matter what. In order to produce the most amazing, irresistible life, right? In order to be the most desirable woman, the most admirable woman that I know you are craving at being. High value, high self-esteem, high self-respect. They are slightly different, but they're very similar. So high value woman would only engage from her higher aspect of herself. I have shared a situation recently how an artist was fired because she was late. Well, she went and I was amazed how low she fell. She went and talked untruthful stories about me. She doesn't even know who I am, never seen me, doesn't know what I do, doesn't know what we do, right? Created this story that I stole her artwork. It is my photo with trademarked Love Goddess logo on it, and she created the story that I stole that from her. So anyway, I'm not gonna go into details here. That's like a legality issue, right? With that being said, she went and created I don't know what she said and how she said it. I didn't read her post, didn't ask anyone to read the post. She was bombarding me with lowball messages where I was very professional in my communication. So I was coming from a high value place, and I'm giving this to you as an example. She would be telling me, oh, you lowballed me on price, and you are this, and you are such a terrible person because I didn't have and she just didn't show up 40 minutes late, 1 hour late when I had to go attend to another client on time. And I simply said, I'm sorry. I do not feel you are not here on time. You are very late. I'm not feeling comfortable proceeding with you due to this. And I let it and I left my phone. When I came to my phone, there's 10 different messages saying how shitty of a person I supposedly am, and she doesn't even know me, right? I had to block, I said, you disregarded my time that is valuable, and you did not attend to the fact that I only had an hour dedicated for our meeting, for which you failed to show up. And this is just simply unacceptable in my world. And she started talking how her time is valuable. Well, no, because you obviously showed that you don't value your time. You don't value my time. That's your reflection of who you are. I don't need to hear from you your words, right? And I simply said, I'm sorry, this will no. She said, I'm gonna go talk shit about you in my community of local artists. Well, that pissed me off, and I had a spicy response for her where I said, well, make sure when you do also tell them why you got fired, and this will be my last message. And I blocked her, and I hoped that this was the end of it. Unfortunately, it was not the end of it. I started getting hate messages telling me that I stole her artwork somehow, for which she never even showed up to perform because she was fired, right? How better that they started writing, they started bullying me. I started receiving hate messages, started receiving bad reviews on my business pages. I don't know who this person is, but I had to step in and talk legal language with my response, and that has put the fire down, right? But this is an example of a high-value perspective, high-value response, and high-value woman, which I preach what I say, right? I preach what I teach. I do what I teach. Oh, my brain doesn't work, right? Where the low value woman would go into a victim mode and blame everyone else for her own misfortunes and her own problems. I had someone who also did not show up to her interview on time, claiming that, I was not clear enough and it was my fault that she didn't specify whether this was Zoom interview or whether it was in-person interview, right? So it's never their fault, right? So they take the position of a victim. High-value woman would never take a position of a victim or blame. She takes radical responsibility for her life. She would take responsibility for her actions and responses in her own life and the situations that she's creating for herself, right? Never from a position of a victim, but always from a very responsible place, very high-value woman place. High-value woman would not eat cheap food, drink cheap wine unless she really wants to. I claim to be a cheap wine drinker, not because I actually like to save money. But the problem is I actually like one of the cheap wines. It's Hatter's red wine. It's probably absolutely horrible. I am into sweet wines, and yes, maybe I don't yet have developed a good taste in wine yet, but I love that wine. I keep buying it, and it's cheap, and win-win, right? So anyway, but the point that I'm trying to make here, she would not be cheap with herself. A lot of women for boudoir photo session would learn that, by the way, to me, that's inexpensive. To me, that's if you work a full-time job, you'll be able to save money, right? Our packages start at $825. And response that I get from some women, not everyone, women who value themselves will invest in themselves. Props to you, my girls. I love you. But then I have the other side to that, oh, that's too expensive. Like, well, are you saying you're not worth it? Are you being cheap with yourself? Are you saying you're not worth it? Like, yes, baby, you worth it. You just don't know the price of your own value, right? And the only price that you set is yourself. You set your own price. So if you're saying you are not worth $825 to spend on yourself, don't expect another man to come into your life and buy you expensive purse or something if you don't value yourself at least at $825. You know what I mean? Like, you set your own price, and it starts with you, with how you treat. If you buy that Louis Vuitton bag and you spend $3,000 on buying that Louis Vuitton bag, you bet another guy will come to you and give you a gift that is $3,000 worth, because that's the price you have set for yourself, and you have communicated clearly that price, and he agreed on that price, right? So don't be cheap with yourself. High value woman has high value standards, and she prices herself high as well, right? And she gets what she wants, right? So that is dark feminine energy. You have some standards. You have some values. You have established your own value alongside with that, right? Self-respect. Self-respect is very similar to high value. Self-respect means that you don't go against your own judgment or intuition. You never say yes when you really want to say no. Like, you communicate clearly and you are very respectful. If you said you're not gonna work over 5 p.m., you don't freaking work over 5 p.m., right? You keep your own promise to yourself, right? That's your own set of boundaries. That's your self-respect and how it shows up in your own life. So, very, very important to know that dark feminine energy is very strong energy. And while it has that feminine mysterious element to it, it is, you know how masculine energy is doing, feminine energy is receiving, right? So dark feminine energy is receiving from this unknown source, receiving from the energetics of it, right? And so that's why I'm keep talking on energetics with you so much, is because when you establish that high value for yourself, you are able to receive back the value that you have established in yourself, in your own life, in everything, in relationship, right? So important to keep that value high, to keep self-respect high, to keep your boundaries in check, because it's gonna come back. I would not have fired the artist if I did not have my boundaries very high. I have my boundaries. Nobody gets late to a meeting with me, especially 40 minutes late. I may allow 15. That's understandable, right? And that's where my boundaries came in place. Nope, nobody violates that rule for me. And not everyone's gonna like it. People will be pissed. And this is kind of the responsibility that you take for your own life when you make a decision. I'm gonna nurture myself over everyone else, right? Your own self-value comes into play. With that, my love, I will talk more on what it means to be a dark feminine in another episode of Katya Melvin podcast, or Lovegodesss podcast with Katya Melvin. I do want to say that if you're local to Virginia Beach, we are launching Lovegodesss Studio that will host dance and spirituality workshops and community and networking and parties. So I'd love for you to come test it out. You can get a test at $10, not $40. Your very first, not a test, a class. Your very first class with the promo code that I'm going to put down below this episode. And yeah, come check it out. I'd love to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.